Hello everyone, my name is Simon Muyal and I'm the technical manager for FrontSciX from 1 year now. So I will present today what we did last year. We did something and it's not finished. So I will start presenting the new infrastructure we deploy, the Fibre infrastructure. Then I will talk about the DWDM solution we choose with CubeOptics. I will detail the migration to Brocade, from Brocade to Juniper we did during the summer. And of course, as Frank said, I will finish talking about the outage we had on 18th of August. We had a big outage, so I will explain exactly what happened and what we did to fix the issue. So let's start with the Fibre infrastructure renewal. This is the new infrastructure. So you see that on the top we have now interaction 2 as a core POP. When I say core POP, it's not it's a POP that is connecting directly some members, but we say that interaction 5, interaction 2, and Klaus 2 are big POPs, main POPs. The other POPs, interaction 1, Télécité Condorcet, Télécité Courbevoie, and Iliad, are smaller sites, so we decide to connect these sites to the main core. So, what was the criteria we choose to select the fibers? So, of course, the main point was the redundancy. So we attach an edge POP to 2 main POPs, 2 core POPs. Of course, we check, we have different paths to avoid SPOF. Then, as we plan to deploy 100 gig connections soon, not for the next months, but as soon as possible, when the prices will permit to do this, we check PMD reports. It was very important to check this if we want to deploy in the future 100 gig links. And of course the path. We checked to have 20 kilometers at maximum for the core, between the core POPs. The fact to deploy a new infrastructure, this facilitates the migration we did during the summer. I will explain why. So the result, we launch a call for tender and we select two operators, Zayo for 3 links. I will detail which links, and Interroute. We have also some discussions with CPAR Tech. We have some interesting offers from them, but finally we choose these 2, Zayo and Interroute, following the criteria we defined initially. Viator and Telcity were less interesting. Telcity has a lot of flexibility, but they have a lot of spans, and this introduced a lot of attenuation. So it was not a very good choice for us, so we decided Zayo and Interroute finally. We deployed this in June, and this is the different links. So we have 3 links for Zayo. It's the old logo, sorry for that. And Interroute 3 links also. You can see a 4th link for Interroute. Why? Because it was the same price to obtain this link. Even if this link didn't follow all the conditions we defined initially, we decided to take it, of course, for the same price. It could be a solution for a backup or for a new deployment to have a backup fiber. Then we launched also a RFP for the DWDM solution, and here we spend more time than planned checking all the solutions, because initially we thought that we will deploy an active DWDM solution, and checking the prices, checking all the scenarios possible, we decide to do another thing. Why? Because active DWDM was very expensive. Even if we imagine long-term scenarios in 3-4 years, the same for passive MUX presented by Thierry from CubeOptics this morning was an interesting solution initially, but checking the prices, it was not so interesting. When we compare these solutions, we take into account also the line cards we have to build in the routers and the CFPs, the 100 gig CFPs that we have to build in the routers. So that's why we decide finally to for the 40-channel passive MUX. It's CubeOptics that is providing this solution, and this solution is good for FranceX. Why? Because initially we deploy 100 gig capacity with 10 per 10 gig interfaces, and we can evolve very easily and with a lot of granularity. For example, if we want to add 50 gigs on the core backbone, we can do it just by adding 5 SSPs on the router directly. So we're a very flexible solution, and with some capacity volatility. Also, you can see we can reach 400 gig of capacity, just adding a transceiver. For transceivers, we check 3 or 4 vendors, and we decide finally to select Prolapse, also which is in the room. Now, once we deploy this, we start discussing the main infrastructure renewal was the routers. So the main criteria was to support 100 gig interfaces, of course, but also to increase density. For your information, we replaced 3 boxes on TH2, allows to pop, just by 1. So that was the initial goal, to have a lot of 10 gig density. What we do with the old Brocade boxes, we will deploy, is not finished, but we start deploying this in the summer, and we will do it, we will finish in October or November. We will deploy these boxes in the edge for the small POPs, and we will have an homogeneous configuration in terms of services. We will have VPLS, we will have also layer 2 filtering in the edge, and we will be able to increase capacity on the edge also for the small sites. Another very important criteria was the lease financing. Was not an option, it was a mandatory criteria, as Frank explained this morning. So we had some offers from Alcatel-Lucent, Brocade, Cisco, Extreme, and Juniper. We shortlist Brocade and Juniper, and finally, we choose Juniper. The 14th slot of IX9200. Here are the criteria, so we put a lot of weight in the price. As I said, some criteria were mandatory, like the leasing for the price. On the technical side, I will not detail all the mandatory criteria and all the options, but for example, VPLS was mandatory, flow monitoring was mandatory also, of course, and we add some optional criteria like IPv6 multicast, for example. Another very important point, we will discuss this later, we put 20% on the vendor support. Why we put this? Because we saw that last year we have some issues with the Brocade boxes, and the main issue we had is we don't have some response from the support of Brocade. And we said we don't want to have again this issue, so we put a lot of weight on the vendor support. One is to have a good platform, but other thing is to have a vendor support. And finally, 10% for the installation delays. Of course, once we select Juniper, comparing the other offers, we run a POC during 1 week. So we performed more than 30 tests with 2 IX boxes, 1 MLX to check the compatibility with the existing boxes, and 1 XA to generate some traffic and stress the platform. We plug some servers to also check flow accounting and generate some traffic also with the servers. Here's just a few tests I put in the list, but we have, as I said, more than 30. I will not detail this. If you want some information about that, contact me and I will provide the full list, of course. We ran this in March and April. We received the boxes in June, and as you can see, we deploy in the meantime the Fibre, the DWDM, and we connect the boxes directly to the new infrastructure. So we have a parallel infrastructure. We were able to set up the DWDM to put 100 gig on the core to check that everything was okay. And then we plan to migrate the members by mid of July. We performed the migration with all the staff of France IX working on that. We work very hard, and also with Raphael that helped us a lot of during the migration. All the team work for that. Franck, of course, all the night. Pierre also converting some scripts. Olivier helping us on doing some cabling. All the people work was involved on this migration, and we plan to deploy the Brocade by September. And what's happened in the meantime, in the mid of August, we have the main outage. That's why we decide to shift the Brocade the Brocade deployment. So this is the final the renewal infrastructure. You can see here the boxes already deployed. So we have interaction 2, interaction 5, telehouse 2 with the new ring. And interaction 1 is already deployed. What is missing is Télécité Condorcet, Courbevoie, and Iliad, we start doing this, is not finished. Before talking about the issue, I would like to, Franck talked very quickly this morning about that. I want to say again this, 3 new POPs available or coming soon. One is Digital Reality in Saint-Denis, another one is Iliad DC3 in Vitry. We are already connecting online on DC3, but it's through not an active equipment. And Telecity Groupe Aubervilliers, there is no active equipment on this site. But if the traffic grows and the demand grows, we can, of course, do it, put an active equipment. So this is for the migration. Now I will talk about the issue. Initially, I just planned to talk about the migration, but with this outage, we need, and of course, clarify what happened on 18th. So we start having an issue not impacting all the members. Few members was impacted by that. 300 meg of flooding traffic. Some members send an email, we start checking, and 3 hours later, we had the main issue. A loop amplified the traffic, the flood traffic, and during 2 hours, we worked very hard to try to understand what's happening in the platform. And of course, here we had a big impact for the members, as root servers were also impacted by that. So we have a huge impact on our platform. 2 hours at 5 p.m. We stopped the loop, and then 1 hour later we succeeded to stop the flooding traffic. For that, during the investigation, we had to deactivate the flow monitoring because it was one of the possible root cause, and we decided to deactivate this. So today there is no flow monitoring active on France-IX. We need to reboot the line cards to activate again the flow monitoring. So we prefer, instead of rebooting the line cards and do it again a maintenance, we prefer to do it once, big maintenance, main maintenance, to activate again flow monitoring, and a fix for the issue I will explain now. So during the investigation, we install a lot of sniffers on the backbone to try to understand exactly the nature of the traffic. We saw that it was not broadcast traffic, but unicast traffic. So with this, we understand why the broadcast policer doesn't work as expected, and we detect a bug on the Juniper devices. So what is the root cause? The root cause is when an interface is flapping, sometimes, not always, but rarely, this flapping causes the flooding. Why? In fact, when an interface starts flapping, the MAC address is removed from the PFEs. The PFEs are the packet forwarding engine installed on the line cards. This information is replicated on the control plane, and then the control plane replicates the information on all the PFEs. And this is the bug when the control plane tries to replicate all the MAC address updates on the PFEs. This information is not replicated, and then the PFEs consider the packet as a non-unicast because the MAC address is not installed on the PFEs. It's installed on the control plane. So if you do a show VPLS MAC table, you can see the entry. So you say there is no problem, it's not a non-unicast traffic, but in the PFE, there is the issue. We spent some time to try to understand why we have this issue, discussing with Juniper, of course, and Juniper told us some information, but not enough information. That's why we didn't communicate more than this. You know that we are always transparent with our members. If we have one information, we give this information to our members. If we not communicate more often, it was because we didn't have some feedback from Juniper. That's why. In the meantime, the issue, we didn't apply a fix. We are waiting for the fix. So in the meantime, what we are doing is a workaround found with Juniper is to check every 5 seconds the amount of traffic, and if we detect that there is more than a threshold we fixed of non-unicast traffic, we check what is happening. If we see that some interface flapped in the past, few seconds before, we clear the VPLS MAC entries of this flapping interface. So we see yesterday, so the issue occurs 3 or 4 times during the last month, and the script works well. And yesterday, just one day before the meeting, we saw that the script didn't work as expected. So we are pushing a new version. Arnaud is working on that to push a new version to double check when there is a flapping, to double check if the amount of traffic is still there, even if we clear the VPLS, after having cleared the VPLS entry, and if the traffic is still there, we clear again. So this is the first time we see the issue, and we have, Arnaud has applied the script, I think, today. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So a fix will be available soon. I put November here, but we are waiting for a confirmation from Juniper. That's why I said should be available soon. The script, the fix is currently tested by Juniper. Juniper is doing some tests to validate the code. Some code has to be rewritten. And of course, Juniper has to check also that there is no regression on the code and they are not introducing new bugs. So that's why it takes some time. Improvements and lessons learned after this outage. We can perhaps do it better on the root servers. Today the root servers are connected to our IT infrastructure, and what we will do is to connect directly the root servers to the fabric, the VPLS fabric, and with this, having a 10 gig ports connected directly to the fabric, even if there is an outage or flooding traffic or loop, root servers will not be impacted as they were impacted for this outage. Another thing very important for us is we want to have no abnormal traffic on the VPLS fabric. Why? Because today we have more than 250 members. If we start saying, okay, for you I can accept this kind of traffic, for you I can accept this kind of traffic, tomorrow we will have only exceptions on our network, and today with 250 members we cannot accept this. So if I know that I discussed with some members saying, but I cannot do it with only one Mac, please accept 2 Macs for me. We cannot do it. We cannot do it today, and we will perform a cleaning campaign to clean the configurations of our members where they are not compliant with our rules. So no proxy ARP, no router advertisement packets, no STP, no CDP, FDP, OSPF, ISIS, etc. And I would like to finish also with that front side expect more reactivity from Juniper if an issue occurs. As I said, we put 20% of the node to select a vendor that is capable to react very quickly. We know that an IXP has to be very, very reactive if an issue occurs. Issues can occur, of course. We have to protect our network to avoid this issue, but if an issue occurs or if a bug occurs, we have to react very quickly. So this issue permits also to clarify the situation with Juniper, and I hope that now they understood the message, and we hope that they will be more reactive. The GTAC will be more available when we open a case, and of course discussions, even discussions between the engineering team in the US and the GTAC are too slow, because these discussions are hidden. We are not visibility for that, so we expect more reactivity from them. That's all. Please, if you have any question, any doubt, we are here to answer. Perhaps Frank want to add something, and we have the coffee break later. So please feel free. If there is some point that is unclear for you, don't hesitate to send me, to come with me, to talk with me.
Okay, thank you, Simon. I wanted to have a few things regarding the outage we had on August. So, as you have understand, we have a workaround that is working pretty good, based on the automatic script that does receive alarm, and when the alarm threshold of the alarms are raised, then automatically there is a clear of the concern entries within the VPLS table. So the workaround is working, but I'm not happy with the workaround. I want a definitive solution, and it does mean a real patch or a new version of TuneOS. And trust me, I will put. I have put till now a lot of pressure on Juniper. Maybe they are in the room, but I already know, and they already know my position on that. So on Monday, when I'm back to the office, I will put additional escalation step in the process because, as you have seen, we are gathering a lot of members. As Simon said, whatever we have a workaround. Any failure or any outage on Internet Exchange is much more impacting than a single issue. So we need to have a very, very short response time. And I think Juniper has understood that. They have already done significant efforts by providing us dedicated staff during 10 days in our premises, working all day with us. So they are showing some efforts, but at the end I do look at the results, not only the efforts. And the result is that the announcement of the patch or the amendment within the TuneOS version is announced on November, and my job is to put as much as possible additional pressure to make shorter the delay for the final patch. Additionally, I wanted to mention, because I know there are some links guys, so you know the links is one of the biggest internet exchange in the world. We have very good relationship with links. They are very concerned about the issues we had on the 18th of August because they are running the same platform as us. They are also based on VPLS architecture. And I wanted to let you know that we have very close contact with Links, and I would like to thank the CEO of the Links, even if not here today, but through the participation of the Links person that is in the room today. And we are exchanging quite a lot with Links. And Links is also working on their side with Juniper, because of course, as it's a new bug, they may be potentially impacted, so they are watching very closely how we deal inside Juniper company about the issues we have. So trust me, it's very high level of escalation, but I will put additional level of escalation next week because I would like to have a definitive position about the delivery date for the definitive patch. And as soon as this is delivered, the soonest it is delivered, the soonest it is for you and for us. That's it.
Any question?